Welcome to the FSC podcast. Here's Avery, PJ, and Nick.
Okay, the league office is now in session. This is the Fantasy Sports Concierge Podcast. We talk about sports, fantasy sports, league management, whatever else we get to talk about. Check us out at fsconcierge.com, where we manage your fantasy league so you can just have fun. Hello, everybody. My name's Avery, and we got Nick, who wouldn't shut the fuck up before we started this podcast, and PJ, my fellow general managers here in blood. And we are very hyped today because there's a lot of NBA free agency movement. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about advanced stats. We started to figure out, we talk a lot about advanced stats in our first 5 episodes here. This is episode 6. And we want to give you one episode where we describe and explain what the metrics are that we're going to be talking about over the course of the season. Look at JoJo. And so anytime that we talk about it in the future, we're going to just say, refer to episode 6. And that's what you're going to look at to find out what opportunity share is for running backs or first downs per route run. All right, Nick, you got to get JoJo out of here. I do.
For no reason.
People love dogs, so we'll keep that in. But he make him sit down or something.
We've been on for how long now? I haven't heard him. He just it starts and he just attacked me. I have no idea.
He heard my voice and he loves me. Actually, my voice is in your headphones, isn't it? So he probably couldn't hear my voice. But okay, so we'll start. We're also watching right now Team USA play, was it Bosnia-Herzegovina? Is that how you pronounce that?
I think so.
So throughout this pod, you're going to hear NBA free agency news. You're going to hear advanced fantasy football stats, and you're going to hear us talk about the U.S. Bosnia-Herzegovina live match. So there's a lot going on. We're going to do all that, ideally, in under an hour. We will see if that could happen. To start off, NBA free agency, we are all Sixers fans. So the first thing, even though there's been a lot more stuff happening too, Jaylen Brown trade, holy shit. Let's go. I can't believe that the Sixers were able to, as such an inept franchise, beat a good team from the playoffs for the first time in forever. I mean, when we beat the Bulls back when they had Rose, it was because he got hurt. And then over the whole entire Embiid era, the process era, we've never beat a team that mattered in the playoffs. Only beat crappy team in the first round, then lose in the second round. So even though we lost in the second round this year to the Knicks, the eventual champions, and it was relatively embarrassing series of losing, getting swept, we did beat the Celtics first, and that was our championship, and I was happy with that. That to me was a successful season because I didn't expect them to do shit anyway. And then we also took their best player last season. Okay, maybe Jason Tatum's better. Don't at me. I don't care. But we beat them in a really embarrassing way, coming back from down 3-1. And then that forced the Celtics fans and other people to shit talk Jaylen Brown for I don't know whatever reason. He got real butthurt and had a whole situation where some sports writer / podcaster was talking about how insiders that he talked to were talking about how Jaylen Brown's advanced metrics aren't that good and that he's not a top player in the NBA. And he came back and said something because he, got his pennies in a bunch and obviously was super mad at the Celtics. Why do you guys think they did this? They traded. Okay, so here's the trade. Paul George, 2 first-round picks and 2 second-round picks for Jaylen Brown. Why? Why did they do this? Paul George is washed, right?
Well,
Jaylen Brown's.
It's just a crazy increase in what we're getting out of that position. You know what I mean? It's insane. Doesn't make any sense.
Paul George is what, 35? Jaylen Brown's 29.
And he's been on the wrong end of one of the worst trades in history.
So the new CBA, I think, where he's owed $50 million is what's really kind of fucking with them. I think that's why they wanted the draft picks. And I mean, to me, it's odd. You would think that other teams reached out to him and probably could have put together a better package, but.
Well, what I was seeing around in the chatter was that after they tried to trade him for Giannis and that didn't work, the Heat beat them out for that. They went to a bunch of other teams with the Trailblazers and they tried, but the Trailblazers then traded for, who would they trade for?
Ja.
Ja Morant, yeah.
And like nobody was willing to give them 2 first-round picks, and they like were set on 2 first-round picks. So I wonder if Mike Gansey was like, "We'll give you 2 first-round picks at Paul George."
I thought they
like, all right, well, it's
requested
2 first-round picks.
4. I thought they were looking for 4 first-round picks for it.
That's not what I saw. I saw 2, and nobody was willing to give them 2.
I saw somebody tweet out Howie really said AJ Brown and Paul George for Jaylen Brown in the 2028 first.
Howie said it, yeah. And
Howie
if
did it
Howie
again.
Howie would have that impact. He is that great. But I mean,
Howie
I think
said,
it's
"We'll
just
give you
that
AJ Brown, but you got to give the Sixers Jaylen Brown."
the overall Boston to Philadelphia trade is like AJ Brown and Paul George and 2 firsts for Jaylen Brown, a first-round pick in the NFL, and what was that? Have to be the 3rd too.
Howie does it again, dude.
Yeah, that's a great. I mean, Philadelphia definitely wins that. I think Patriots fans are so delusional that they think they're getting the AJ Brown that is the
What we
prime AJ
had,
Brown.
yeah.
Like you're not getting prime AJ Brown. That's just not happening. And apparently he has a degenerative knee issue. Like,
Yeah.
you're welcome. Cool.
That trade was a win-win. AJ Brown.
So who do you guys think? I just think that like Boston essentially ran him out because he wants to be the man. He thought he was the man this year, led them to a 2nd seed, and said as much. And said he said he had the most fun this season that he's ever had. And obviously it was because he was there and Jason wasn't. He got to lead everything. And then they kind of like shit talked him, and he was like, "All right, well, screw you guys." And I think he must have said to Bradley Stephens, their GM of the Celtics, like, "I'm not playing for you guys anymore," and they just need to get whatever they could get for him. Because I can't think of any other reason they do that.
Yeah, like Nick said in a past podcast that, if you're going to put everyone on the trade block except for Jason Tatum, why not just put everyone on the trade block or, leave off the 2 Supermax guys. So the whole thing was pretty goofy. To lead up to this point is, beneficial for us. But on my way over to the office here, I was listening to the NBA Sirius station, and they had the Boston local station on, and it was a bloodbath. So, I mean, they're losing their mind up there about this.
They're pissed about the trade?
Yeah. They just don't understand, like, what happened. Supposedly there was something about his, he was on a podcast. Yeah, he was on the First Things First podcast, and he said that he wanted to play in Atlanta. So, because that's where he's from. So, and then supposedly that brought up some media backlash because guys like Bill Simmons and Kendrick Perkins started talking about how he wanted to get out of there.
That's so funny.
To go to
one thing
Philadelphia, I mean, like, you got to think that he's gonna he's ready to get some revenge. I mean, that's
Yeah,
fucking,
he'll have the
dude, like, he's
opportunity.
I'm definitely excited for chip on your shoulder, Jaylen Brown. I hope that I mean, the best thing is like he's going to be available. I mean, all of our players seem to get injured all the time, so it's cool to have a guy that we can expect to actually play. So that'll be fun. Knock on wood. And
I'm
then
excited for
ideally,
some top tier wing defense. Or I mean, perimeter defense, dude.
Oh yeah,
Like we've wanted that for years, and we finally have like really good perimeter defenders who aren't just perimeter defenders. There are playmakers. You know what I mean?
yeah, they're not Matisse Thybulle.
well,
Right,
and Ben
exactly.
Simmons. We really haven't had an elite one since Ben.
Speaking of Ben Simmons,
yeah, God.
did you see the Ben Simmons Men's Health interview? I don't know who, like, he must be banging somebody at Men's Health. He does a lot of interviews with them, and they ask him these questions that are like so self-serving and so delusional, and his answers are so delusional, and there's no pushback. And it's like, guys, why are you interviewing Ben Simmons? One of the quotes is like, he said he was watching the NBA playoffs and he just got the juice back, and he was saying he can compete with these guys. No, you can't. What are you talking about?
Well, I
he
think
knows
he's
what he's
kind of like
doing.
the
Know
NBA's
exactly what they're doing. This is going to get clicks.
Ricky Williams. You know what I
Well,
mean?
no, because Ricky Williams was very good.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying, like, this is a guy who just kind of gave up on playing. And it's kind of crazy how it all went down. Like, this is a 30 for 30 written all over it. Like, what the fuck happened to Ben Simmons?
I agree. There will definitely be a 30 for 30, but
So
I
I'm
gotta
not saying
check
it's
you
the
on.
same situation. I'm just saying that it's like it's a crazy thing where a guy just kind of gave up. Now, even though Ricky came back and was good, but
And the thing is, Ricky Williams left because the NFL is stupid and they were like cared about his weed smoking habits. Just like, you guys are idiots. It's going to be legal in a few years. This was essentially his thing. And he was right. And the NFL was wrong. Ben Simmons is in the wrong here. Like in Ricky Williams' situation.
I agree. Yeah.
Ricky Williams was right and the NFL was wrong. Right here, Ben Simmons is an idiot and he's wrong. And the NBA just doesn't care about him.
I'm saying it in the sense of like Ricky Williams, one day he's playing in the NFL, walks away. Now he's in like a tent, that he chose to be in, like a tent out in the wilderness somewhere. And the same thing with like Ben, next thing you know, is like on a boat,
fishing boat, winning a
fishing boat, winning. It's just like, what the fuck happened?
But they know how to stay relevant and within their sport. You know what I mean? They understand, like, getting on this men's health thing. Just he knew what he was doing. It's the every summer workout video that he posts and everything like that. That just has people like us having a conversation about him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's only fun because
they knew what they were doing with Ben. Let's ask him about the NBA return. And Ben he's got to be a troll. He knows what he's doing.
Not no.
I think he's just never grown up.
He's just delusional and immature.
Yeah.
He's just.
If you're that he wants to play for he would play again for the Sixers. He's got to be.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's not trolling. That's him being delusional because he legitimately. I think, in his mind, other people don't know basketball as well as him, which is stupid. And in his mind, they asked him about the Atlanta Hawks game and the thing, and he said, I was calculating that moment. He shoots better free throws than I do, so why not? No, you didn't. You were just pumped by Trae Young, and you're 6'10". You were scared. We saw you all season.
You didn't want us bitching at you because you blow a layup.
Right, you were scared.
You do that.
It's not. It's if anything, Nick. If anything's a Matt Snow, it's Ben Simmons in that interview. We discussed how to use that term, and that is the exact right. To say something like I calculated in my head in that exact moment that Matisse Thybulle shoots free throws better than me, so let me throw it to him, is just a lie. It's just not true. What happened? Did we score?
No, that should have been a penalty kick.
Though. Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought those are called penalty kicks.
But yeah, onto other more relevant NBA free agency. What other NBA free agency things did you stuck out to you guys? For me personally, Kawhi back to the Raptors is cool. Leaving his hometown to go back to the Raptors, and I don't know what effect it's going to have.
That was that one's crazy. So so break that down. What was that trade? How does Kawhi go for that much more than Jaylen Brown?
Yeah, Brandon Ingram, Grady Dick, and a bunch of picks. I don't know. I guess
more picks, right?
Yeah, I think it was 4. Was it 4 first?
Not to mention the guy.
Okay, here's the return package. Brandon Ingram, Grady Dick, great name. Unprotected first round picks in 2031, 2033, a pick swap in 2027, and 2 second rounders in 2030 and 2033. So that's a haul.
Insane.
Yeah, how?
For a guy that plays 40 games.
Yeah, how does he go for more than Jaylen Brown? That's insane.
Kawhi is better than Jaylen Brown. That's just a fact.
Toronto, I think, was willing to overpay just to get him back.
Yeah, I think that too.
Yeah, but hold on. Isn't the NBA usually when Kawhi comes out and he says he wants to play for the Clippers? I mean, for the Raptors. Doesn't the ball now go?
Team USA on top in the knockout round.
Let's go.
How are you that much further ahead of me if you called this should have been a penalty kick at the same exact time as me?
I must have been seeing the replay, but I got it on my TV here. Cable.
I got it on my TV too. It still hasn't scored.
And then
big steal.
So who's more of a contender now?
That was vicious, dude. That was sick.
Okay, so
let's go. I did LeBron.
I would say here's the thing with the
They called
Sixers. You still
offsides.
What happened? Talk it out. We're on a podcast. You have to talk.
He was
out.
offsides.
Man, they
Fuck!
called him offsides. So you can delay the offsides is delayed in soccer.
Yeah, it's so stupid. It's like the guy has like
Yeah,
a minute to think
it's
about
really
it. He's
annoying.
like,
They literally didn't call it till after he celebrated with his entire
Yo, can you
team.
pause yours for like 10 seconds?
Yeah.
So that goal doesn't count.
I'm at 13:45.
So, back to the NBA.
But here's the thing with the Sixers. They're still kind of stuck in that, they're definitely better off, but there's still like one injury to the starting five that kind of fucks them up still.
Man, what team is?
Hold on, here.
Yeah, but
if Giannis gets hurt, the Heat are nothing.
Is Wade playing?
True. But like if
Is Wade
Embiid goes
starting?
down, I mean, right now, yeah, probably.
He's the 4.
They don't really, unless it's Barlow.
Yeah, it's
Why
probably
not going to start over Wade. What other? But who is a bigger contender now? Is the Raptors or the Sixers?
Sixers.
I would say the Sixers for sure. If with our
Absolutely.
5, if they stay healthy all season long,
Okay, but that's
and
not
like
going to happen.
We have
but you know what I'm
4
saying?
players that can
we do
realistically
this every year.
score 30 plus.
Yeah, we do it
any
every year,
night.
so let's not do it again.
No.
Like,
When
let's not
when
be
it-
suckers again.
4 players any night can realistically score 30 plus points.
Let's assume Embiid
Yeah.
plays 40 games
That's
next
wild
year.
shit.
Okay, but listen, let's assume Embiid plays 40 games next year and is only 60% in the playoffs, like every freaking season.
Well, they got to
the
bring
Sixers-
back. They got to bring back like Drummond or someone. There's really
No,
no centers.
never.
They
I
just
hope
There's
brought-
so.
no
They're not
centers
bringing back Drummond.
available.
They brought the
No,
Knicks
they're not
guy
bringing
in.
back Drummond.
They brought the
Who?
guy off the Knicks.
The Knicks' third string center that Nick is somehow, I don't know why he's so excited about that guy. That guy doesn't.
Well, you got
I'm not
Bona.
excited about it. I'm just saying that was probably
yeah.
one of the hardest top 2 center tandems to crack in the NBA. You got Karl Anthony Towns and Mitchell Robinson ahead of you. So who's to say what that guy really is? I don't know.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that the guy behind him is good.
I don't know
not what
anything
that
about
means.
him. Yeah, I'm just
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
that's where you got Bona.
I mean, this guy
is
just
a
got Jaylen
guy's
Brown
gonna get in
first.
foul
He knows
trouble.
what he's doing.
All right, but what other? So
There's not a lot of room left for centers. Like Drummond's still out there. You got like Thomas Bryant. What's his name? The other guy that we had.
wow, Norman Powell signed with the Bulls. What was the point of that?
This has been one of the
What was the point
craziest
Norman
off
Powell signing with the
seasons.
Bulls?
This has been
In
one of the
NBA
craziest off
history,
NBA history.
definitely.
Yeah.
LeBron.
I mean,
we still don't even know where LeBron's
yeah.
going.
He had to
LeBron's
get in on
there.
it. Yeah.
John Morant got
LeBron-
traded. LaMelo got traded.
Yep.
God, dude, it's crazy. I
Walker
forgot about LaMelo.
Kessler goes.
Walker
to the
Kessler got traded. Jaylen Duran, we don't know where he's going to be. There's rumors now that he might go to the Lakers.
Tobias Harris to the Spurs, dude, which makes so
Dude,
much sense.
I'd pay $11 million for Tobias back on the team.
Yeah, now that he would be our like 5th option, 6th man, like sure,
Yeah,
absolutely.
If he knew his role,
Fucking
yeah.
he knows his role. That's the role he's going to be playing over there at San Antonio.
Where do you guys think LeBron's going to end up? There's okay.
Golden
So before you
Golden
answer that question,
State
hold on.
all day long.
I
I was
think
going
it's
to say
just
the
Golden
Golden
State.
State. I was
He
going to
wants
say
to play
the
with his
Golden,
boys.
the Golden State thing where they're trying to get LeBron, Draymond, and AD, which the Wizards said we're not trading AD, so they're not going to get AD.
Yeah.
But do you think even like without
I
AD,
don't-
he's still going to go there?
I mean, they just re-signed Porzingis, so I mean, they still have that big man.
Porzingis is more injury prone than Embiid.
I don't think he is, but it's close.
He could go back
So-
to the Cavs. Would be a fun him and James Harden and
I think he wants to stay in that California West Coast.
I think
that's-
it's just no brainer. He's going to Golden State. There's no doubt in my
Yeah,
mind.
to play with
Yeah, I mean-
Steph, Draymond.
Yeah, like there's no. It's one of them things where he could go there and have success or not have success. It's going to be a highlight. It's going to be an easy way out. Like if he goes to like another team, like who's the other options?
Cavs.
Like
It's the Cavs or the Heat. I think it's either the Cavs, the Heat, or the Warriors. I think those are the 3 options.
I think that it's a no-brainer.
I mean, if he's in the East, then he doesn't have to worry about the Spurs or the Thunder. And if he's on the
Now the Sixers, baby. He's got to worry about the Sixers.
Did Jared Allen leave them?
No, not yet.
How the
think Jared
fuck
Allen's
could
still
they
on the Cavs.
afford how could the Cavs possibly afford LeBron unless he takes
Because James Harden is no longer on their books. He turned down his player option, and he said he's going to give them, liquidity to see if they can sign LeBron, and then they can sign James Harden afterwards.
I didn't even see that I forgot. I did see he turned it down, and then Zach LaVine accepted, I think, a $49 million play option.
I mean, of course he accepted that.
I
Nobody's
know.
going to pay
Smart
Zach
move.
LaVine that much money to do anything.
It's a lot of money. We wanted Zach LaVine kind of bad at one point.
You could say I never wanted
didn't.
Zach LaVine.
Yeah, I didn't.
I never.
want to.
He's always
Years
been.
ago.
I never liked Zach.
Maybe
LaVine's
years
game.
ago when they were.
He got brought up
He's-
he
Yeah,
got
like
brought
Al
up every
Horford.
year, 4 years. But I'm saying when
he
it
just
first
didn't
hit,
play good defense. His defense couldn't match.
And he's not
what he-
efficient, really, as a shooter. He's not like a good shooter. I mean, he shoots a lot, but he's not like hitting 40% of threes or anything like that. Like he's just a guy who plays on bad teams and puts up numbers.
Where would you
That's-
put Vegas at opening day? Of the
What are you saying?
season?
Who has the best odds?
Who
to
has
win?
the best odds?
Well, probably the Knicks. I would assume
Spurs.
first at the best odds.
Spurs.
I would say
Spurs are
Knicks,
one.
Spurs. Yeah,
Knicks
say
and then the
Spurs
Spurs,
won.
and then
maybe Oklahoma City.
I would
in
say
there.
Knicks, Spurs, then Oklahoma City, and then after that, I think I have no idea.
It's Spurs 1.
I could see that. Yeah, yeah. It's big that they lost Mitchell Robinson.
Yeah, I can
You
see
know.
that. That's fair. But it's those 3 teams: Knicks, Spurs, Thunder, and then I think we have to wait until we see what happens with LeBron. Maybe LeBron's movement changes.
Sixers?
What happens with James Harden? Maybe
Yeah,
maybe James
If you-
Harden goes to the Heat. You know what I mean? Like there's some crazy things that can happen. Like who knows? It's
Yeah,
and
but
it's because everybody's trying to
Harden's-
avoid.
James Harden signing has no relevance on the team winning.
No, I mean he's a choker and everything, but you can't deny that if he goes to the Heat, they're gonna jump
Yeah.
into Vegas odds.
Yeah, they will. But we all know that's a fucking joke. Yeah, San Antonio is right now currently plus 240. Oklahoma is plus 250, and the Knicks are plus 850. The
Big jump.
Celtics are plus 1400. They're the 5th most, and the
I'm
Sixers
assuming that's
are
before.
That
6th
has
at
him up.
plus 2200. You don't
What?
think it's
So that's
updated?
after the trade. So that's after the trade.
Yeah.
It has to be after the trade.
It
if they're-
has
if
to
they're that
be. There's
high.
no way
Yeah.
the Sixers are higher than the Nuggets. Oh no, they're the same as the Nuggets.
That's insane. I mean,
Why the fuck are the Celtics at plus 1400?
they're still the Celtics. They're a very well-run franchise. As much as I don't like the Celtics or Boston,
They love
have-
Jason
and
Tatum.
they're projecting PG's going to play all year too.
all right. So, what other NBA free agency stuff do we have? Anything else? What else do you guys want to bring up before we get to some stats for fantasy football?
I think we covered it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much more to come that it's hard
It's
to.
a
really,
fun start. You know?
It is. It is fun.
Definitely for Sixers fans.
Yeah, I was ready to write off this team for the next 2 years, and now I'm back on Suckersville, back on the bandwagon,
Welcome back.
back on team. Embiid might be fully healthy for the playoffs. this
Listen,
year.
they got me back in, as you know, for the playoffs. I was like,
Prices
they
just
stay
went
healthy.
up.
Yeah.
every year.
Our prices just went up, dude.
Yeah.
Knicks
About time.
Knicks fans, you better be ready to pay up for them season tickets, the Sixers tickets.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm your guy. Give me a call.
Yeah. Hit me up. I could care less.
10 times list price though. You don't
If
you
it's
don't
the
get cheap.
conference finals, I'll probably be there.
Really?
I
We
will.
just
You
haven't
haven't
that
seen
money.
it. We just haven't seen
I
it.
will not.
We're not. I mean,
I'll sell the first one and then go to the second one.
can the Sixers make the conference finals? Like, let's be real here, guys. Come on.
think so.
Okay, one last thing on the Jaylen Brown trade. The thing that I'm scared of is every single time the Sixers do something that has to do with the Celtics, we lose. We did the trade in the draft, or we won that
lose
like
every time.
the draft, and they got Jason Tatum, and we got
We could have had Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, and we got shoulder. No, Jason Tatum.
No,
and we got the
coulda
shoulder
had
broken guy.
We were
Jaylen
never going
Brown,
to get
too.
Tatum. They
the
weren't
thing
going
is-
to. They were going to take Tatum one if.
I agree,
They knew
but the
we were
thing
good.
is, we did movement with them, and they got Jason Tatum. We got
Who
Al
did we
Horford.
take over Jaylen Brown?
I don't think Jaylen Brown went that high, so probably.
He did go high. He went
It
3.
was it was Ben, wasn't it? It was Ben.
Well,
it was
that
Ben.
was-
It
but,
was
like-
It was
Ben.
Ben, and then it went.
we can't
Brandon
blame them for
Ingram.
taking Ben. That was like, at that time, he was the obvious number one.
Yeah,
Um,
motherfucker.
but the thing I'm thinking about is Horford. Horford even more close. So we were like, oh, we get out Horford, like ha 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 ha, and then he
that was
sucks for us.
bad. We should.
And
have
then we
seen
trade
that.
him away, and we trade away picks to trade him away, and then he goes back to the Celtics, and he's good again. Like,
Yeah,
so and with the thing of whenever the Sixers get somebody who can shoot, they forget how. So like, I am deathly scared of that. I'm gonna temper my excitement there. But other than that, we can move on to some fantasy stats. We're gonna give you guys some advanced stuff that we talk about that we're gonna bring up in the future, and talk about what matters and what you should look at. That's not just fantasy points per game or rushing yards per game. So a lot of these things are correlated. So like an example is opportunity share for running backs. Opportunity share for running backs is just what percentage of the overall opportunities, which is carries and targets that go to running backs on a team, does that running back get? If a team had 400 total opportunities for their running backs, carries plus targets, and one of those running backs got 200 of those over the course of the season, that's a 50% opportunity share. So you want a higher number. The higher the opportunity share, the more likely they're going to score points. Those kind of things. PJ, you throw out one. I know PJ did a lot of great research on some stats that he wanted to share with us. What are some ones that you could think of?
Well, the one that I found to be probably the most useful, definitely during the season as well, is weighted opportunity rating. It's very good for wide receivers, and so what it does is it breaks down target share and air yard share. The actual formula itself is you go 1.5 times target share plus 0.7 times air yard share. So the target share is like weighted more heavily because of consistently like earning targets, is like slightly more predictive than simply being targeted like deep down the field. They scored.
Did they really score this time, or
It looks like they really scored, and it was the
Yeah,
guy who
guy
got
just
called
scored.
offside.
is there no offsides?
No, that was
How
clean.
long do
That
we have to
was-
wait to make sure that actually was a score?
No, that was a score for sure.
All right.
Sorry, dude. Go
but-
ahead. Let me cut you
No,
off.
I'm glad because but anyway,
Well, first, before you go on, target share, let's break down target share, is the
Yeah.
percentage of a team's pass attempts that go to a specific player. So it's the amount of targets that player has divided by the overall team pass attempts. And then air yards is just how far that ball travels in the air on the target. So if a
Yeah.
player runs a go and they go 50 yards downfield and the ball's in the air for 50 yards, that's 50 yards, air yards. If the player runs a slant and it's 3 yards and they catch it, that's a 3 air yards. Now keep
Yeah.
going.
and just like as an example for that, just to break like receiver A is like 150 targets, right? So and then receiver B is 130 targets. Off the rip, you're thinking, wow, I'm going to go with receiver A because he gets 20 more targets. But if you look at the target depth or the air yard share, let's say receiver A is 6 yards where receiver B is 14 yards. So obviously, you want to go with receiver B. He's getting 14 yards through the air rather than 6 yards, even on 130 targets. Even though that guy has more opportunities, it gives them, more fantasy value.
And so when you're looking at target share specifically by itself too, because I want to go into target share a little bit, a good target share is mid to high 20s. Your number one wide receivers are going to have, and the absolute best might get into 30%. Like I think Jackson Smith and Jigba was up there.
He was the top, yeah.
And maybe Puka's around that area. But like a good target share for a number one wide receiver for your number one fantasy wide receiver is going to be mid-20s and up. And for like a wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3, anything in the 20s is pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, opportunity predicts fantasy points better than like last year's production.
Yes.
So that's like the metrics that you're trying to look for here. So, so by doing this though, by using this formula, you're now able to see, you're able to now be suggested ultimately who's going to have more points through a percentage and equation. So it's more of like a scientific like reason to play this guy rather than this is just off my gut feeling.
Right. Because we're going to have a lot of gut feeling and vibes takes in here, but we're going to try to mix them with the stats so that you get a little bit of background. And there's going to be a lot of people in your leagues who are going to be like, oh yeah, I just really like this guy. This is my favorite team. Or there's going to be a lot of office pools where somebody's just picking their favorite color or their favorite animal or whatever. And sometimes that works, but we're just going to try to give you a little bit better than that and back up some of the vibes with stats. There are going to be times it's just going to be vibes. Totally. Sometimes you got to trust your gut. And it's fantasy football. Have fun with it. Like, who cares? Like, at the end of the day, vibes are fun. But if you feel like, using a little bit of stats to go along with your vibes, these are one of the ones you should go with.
Weighted opportunity is great. I mean, you could do it for pretty much any position. You just got to look up what the equation is, right? But it's all the same. So, like I said, wide receivers 1.5 times target share plus 0.7 times air yard share. That means that the air yard share is valued at 0.7, where the target share is at 1.5. You could do this with running backs too. You could put a running back at it goes rush attempts is the 0.7, and then targets is 1.5. So you just do the same equation. Now you have a weighted opportunity rating for your running back.
And that's huge for running backs, weighted opportunity. That's definitely one I wanted to bring up. And I just want to also point out that a target for a running back is worth roughly 2.5 times more than a carry. On average, a single rushing attempt is worth about 0.6 fantasy points. And a target is worth 1.5 fantasy points. And that's because, we're talking about PPR leagues, and that's because you're getting a point just for the catch anyway. And even if a target isn't necessarily a catch, but like usually running backs are going to get targets that are easily catchable coming out of the backfield because there's a lot of coverage downfield or checkdowns kind of thing. So remember that, pay attention to that. And you don't have to necessarily, none of the calculations, like we're going to give you some of the calculations just so that we're not bullshitting you, but you don't have to worry about, for people who are less experienced at fantasy sports, you don't have to worry about calculating any of it. We're just going to tell you the numbers. We just want to make sure that you understand this is why this is important. And one of the things that PJ said was it's more predictive than fantasy points per game, which is an awesome point. Like you would rather have somebody who gets more targets, who had more targets the previous season than who necessarily had more fantasy points if they're in the same kind of tier of player, because the targets are going to hold over. Like that's something that the coach wants to give that person that opportunities, and they're going to continue giving that opportunities, partially because of their contract status, sometimes because the coach just likes that person better, whatever reason that we might not know. But a fantasy point is earned a lot of times luckily. Like you can just get lucky and there was a busted coverage on that play and you got 20 fantasy points because somebody caught a 70-yard touchdown. But like a target is something that is planned, and we want to give you some ideas to figure out what's the plan rather than what is the end result. Trust the process, to go back to a Sixers
Yeah.
TTB.
And then, so one that I came to in my kind of research for the pod that is really interesting. I got this from fantasypoints.com, which is a really great, a really awesome resource that people should check out. And it's first down per route run. So there's a stat that is yards per route run, and that's how many yards you gain per routes you run in a game. So more productive receivers will run more routes because the coaches want them out on routes. Less productive receivers will not be in the game to run those routes, or they will be in the game on run plays. So they won't be running routes as much as a receiver who, You just want to catch the ball. JSN is going to run a lot of routes. Puka Nacua is going to run a lot of routes. And so yards per route run is a good metric because you want the people who have more yards per route run. But
Well, it
a little
shows
more,
trust too, you know.
yeah, it shows
You
the
have a
coaches and
higher
the
amount
offensive coordinators.
that they're trusting you to throw the ball on third down to
Because you want
reliable
people,
target.
yeah, you want people who are trusted by their offensive coordinators and their coaches. And then so first down per route run is better though, because yards per route run is like it kind of tricks you a little bit because some players are what fantasy points calls sacrificial X, which is when that person runs a go route because they're a deep threat. And the team's going to, and like the coverage has to run with them because you can't just let people get behind you. One of the most important things for a defensive back is nobody gets behind you for the safety specifically. But those are decoys. Somebody's going to be running a crossing route under that, and you're just supposed to clear those people out so that guy can have an open route. And so sometimes those routes hit, but they don't run as many. So their yards per route run is going to look higher than somebody who might be more productive on a fantasy points per game level, because if you have 10 routes run, but one of those routes, you got a go route that you scored a 50-yard touchdown, that's going to make your yards per route run look huge. But you only got 3 targets that whole game. So I don't know if you want to, it's not like you want to say like, oh, this guy's going to do this every game, because it's not going to happen every game. First downs are something that a first down is, generally speaking, not too deep a target. You only need 10 yards. And if you have a lot of first downs, it's because the team is targeting you on downs that matter. Again, that shows that the head coach, the offensive coordinator, has trust in you and wants to give it to you when the game matters.
I
So
take it
really
that's like
predictive.
I take it that's like Amon-Ra versus Jameson Williams. I bet you.
Absolutely. That's a great comparison. Like, Amon-Ra is going to have a really great first down per routes run number, whereas Jameson Williams is not going to have as good because he doesn't have as many first downs.
Yeah, this is where people
He's more of an air yard.
this is where people when they're like looking at their draft, you know what I mean? You got to take your heart out of it and use your head. You know, Jameson
Yes.
Williams is a great football player and he does a lot for that team. But is it going to be, you know, fantasy relevant? Is it going to be what you're looking for in a fantasy player? Me, not so much. Now he had great games last year, but it's one of those guys that you need to be able to rely on your guys week in and week out, and just what he brings to the table is a player that you don't know what you're going to get all the time with him. He might have a big game, but then there might be another game where he was just out there and he was just taking the top off. He was opening up the run game for Gibbs. And then Amon-Ra was just racking up all the receptions and he was just, being a, attention guy.
And that's going to help you. And another one is Pierce, the receiver on the Colts.
Alec Pierce, yeah.
Yeah, he's due
Alec
for a
Pierce.
big year, man.
Well, he is a deep shot artist. He has been a deep shot artist even last year.
There's something changing. Has to in that system with that. I mean, they gave him the deal. They traded Pittman. I just feel like they're going to put a lot more on that guy this year. That's one of the ones where when a big trade like that happens and you switch roles because what were we saying about Devontae Smith last year with those? What was his numbers saying on that type of thing? Because we know what he's capable of, and now he's switching roles and things are changing and everything like that. So,
yeah, that's not a bad. I mean, I think Josh Downs is a sleeper on the Colts that is going to, who has historically had in his career a pretty high.
Yeah.
He's been in the top 20% of guys in first downs per route run. He's an underneath receiver, and when Dan Jones was in there, he was getting a lot of targets in that mid area. That's his spot. So I think one of the things that could change is Pierce is still going to be the deep threat, and then they're
going to be covering him more now though, because he led the league in yards per catch last year. So it's they're going to be covering him a little bit more over the top. Josh Downs is a really good sleeper pick.
Yeah, somebody to look out for because he's going to have a lot more targets. They're going to be good targets, and he's going to have support as far as other good receiving targets around him taking attention from the defense. He's got good hands. He's the kind of guy that a stat like first down per route run will show that this is a guy you should look at.
I just want to say too, because we've mentioned yards per route run. The formula for that's receiving yards divided by routes run.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So just to explain that for you, I mean the leaders in it last year: JSN, Puka, Chase, Pickens, St. Brown, Lamb, Zay Flowers, Jefferson, Nico Collins, Brian. I mean, I think it's the top 10 players in PPR. I think the only one in there that
if you can
isn't
predict that,
is
you're
Nico
getting
Collins.
you predict
Yeah.
that, you're getting a guy. You're always getting
And so
It's a great metric, throughout the year if you're looking for a guy too on a bye week or something through the waiver wire. If you get like 5 guys, now you have a number put on it too. It makes it a lot clearer to see who the better guy is rather than going back and forth. Oh, I'll take this guy, but wait, no, maybe I'll take this guy instead of, you can organize yourself with these metrics.
Yeah, these should be the tiebreakers. Like, you don't necessarily go into a draft like, I'm just going to pick the best first down per route run or yards per route run guy, because
Right.
you're not
This
going to get that.
stops you from making that pick with your heart when you're sitting there at the late in the mid rounds and stuff like that, and you're thinking about like, who do I pick? Well, you could fall back on some metrics as opposed to like, falling in love with like a player because you went to a college that you liked and or whatever the reason might be that some people make their picks.
Absolutely. Another guy that I want to bring up it's big in first downs per route run is Adonai Mitchell. Was also on the Colts last year, traded to the Jets, and he is carving out a role. There's a lot of rumors from camp OTC reports. We talked about OTC reports in past episodes, but like this one is one where they're talking about how he's carving out a role as the number 2 receiver there. Garrett Wilson's going to get 150 targets, of course. But Adonai Mitchell was among receivers last year with at least 50 targets, was 13th in first downs per route run. He was above Quentin Johnson. And so he's a guy that like another sleeper that you can look at, and maybe the Jets are going to be playing from behind. They still suck. And they got a good quarterback upgrade in Geno. So like that story plus first downs per route run means like, okay, here's a guy that I can draft late. Or I can, pay $2-3 for, or pick up in free agency even after the draft, and see what happens. Like, you don't have to start him right away, but he might be a guy that has a couple of breakout weeks. Maybe you could trade him.
Yeah, he's going to compete with, Breece Hall's at pretty much the entire offense there. So he's going to have to perform to get some more targets, but he should have the opportunity there. Like you said, Geno Smith, if the Jets don't fuck him up again.
They do have Garrett Wilson. I'm not taking anything away from what they're saying about him in the offseason and everything like that, but Garrett Wilson is
he's a wide receiver.
Wide receiver, and then Mitchell is this, number 2 guy.
I would say he has the upside of a wide receiver too, if all things break well for him. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And at the worst, you can use him as like a buy, fill in. Another guy that scored well in first downs per route run, Wando Robinson. And he's going to a situation where the offensive coordinator, Daboll, brought him in there because he likes him, paid him. And he's got a second-year quarterback who should be significantly improved over his rookie year. They're bringing in a better system for him. The Titans' defense should be better. They got Robert Saleh. He's a defensive-focused head coach, and he brought a bunch of his guys in there. They have the best D-tackle combination in the league. So another guy that you can think he's going to get opportunities. He's shown in the past that on these rate stats, he's good. You should definitely just check that out. A stat for running backs that I really like: yards after contact per attempt. So yards after contact, when does a guy get hit, and how many yards does he get after that? The top yards after contact per attempt leaders in 2025, Tank Bigsby was actually number 1, which is crazy. Hopefully he gets some more carries, but of course you're probably not. Tank Bigsby's a handcuff to Saquon, but that's a good handcuff. Jordan Mason.
I hope he gets more carries this year, man. I hope.
Hopefully, but
I just want to see a fresher back in at all times, and just, you know what I mean?
Absolutely, and he should get more, but he won't be fantasy relevant.
There's no reason why he shouldn't be. When he touched the ball last year, man, he was the difference between him and Saquon. He was just running straight downhill through holes, making contact with people, and just picking up chunk yards. You know what I mean? Saquon is always trying to. He had the year prior where he was able to make that one cut and find the lanes and everything like that. he didn't have that last year, but he was always trying to make that cut, make that move. And a lot of times it just got bottled up. Sometimes you just got to stick your nose into it and just gain a couple yards. Every time Tank got handed the ball, he just ran straight downhill and he was just picking up chunk yards. You know what I mean? Like,
awesome. And
we just need that rotation.
That goes with the new Eagles offensive blocking scheme too of trying to get downhill. But Tank Bigsby's not going to be fantasy relevant unless Saquon gets hurt. I mean, he definitely draft him as a handcuff.
I'm not talking. Not fantasy relevant. Just talking.
Other running backs who are good in yards after contact per attempt. Tony Pollard of Tennessee. He's a guy that could be. I don't know if you necessarily have him a sleeper, but he's not going in the top rounds. He's not going for RB1 money, but he has very little competition. They didn't bring anybody in to get him. It seemed like they might have been targeting. Okay, yeah.
I like Nicholas Singleton. No,
I'm
fifth
sure
round.
because you have a Penn State bias, but he
was great. He was a great running back, and there was no reason
he was a good running back.
He was a great running back.
Okay, but he doesn't. I don't think he threatens Tony Pollard's carries.
I mean, he was going to be he was one of the. He was prior to last season. He was going to be the top running backs off the board.
That doesn't really mean anything though. Prior to last season, Brendan Sorsby was one of the top quarterbacks in the NCAA. I mean, what does that mean?
Penn State fell off a cliff last season.
You're just such a Penn State homer, bro.
No, Nicholas Singleton was a great running back.
Nicholas Singleton is a good running back. He's not great. Definitely not. If you're great, you have to. I think to be great, you have to at least win some awards. Maybe be All-American.
Great college back.
Was he All-American? If you're not All-American, you're not great. I think, right? Like, there's got to be some limit to that term. No, PJ, break the tie.
Nick Singleton was a
great
borderline great to good, and Katron Allen was good.
Katron Allen now a Commander,
and then Allen wound up taking over last year at the end of the year. But like, who's to say what that whole team got derailed last season? You know what I mean? They fired Franklin. Everything went to shit.
Yeah,
I don't know. I like Singleton's
UCLA,
situation.
it was.
But really, I'm not saying they suck. I'm just
that's
saying
a dynasty thing. By the way, I don't. Sure. Singleton wouldn't be a guy that you draft this year. I mean, maybe late.
I would not draft Singleton at all. He's going to be a free agent.
It depends on how deep your league is and everything. Obviously, yeah. In a normal 10,
if you're in a 20-team league, sure.
No, but dynasty, I consider him all day. I mean, I don't know why he gets overlooked. I don't think Tajay Spears is a crazy threat, and I don't see Tony Pollard just doing this year in and year out. I think Singleton is a good back.
I think Tony Pollard is going to have a good season because he doesn't have much competition for touches, and he is one of the best running backs in the NFL as far as yards after contact per attempt. And he has a better offensive line in front of him. He has a better quarterback around him. He's got better receiving weapons that they can't stack the box as much. I think has a good chance of being an RB2 that is drafted that you only have to pay RB3 prices for.
Singleton was the Gatorade National Football Player of the Year at
high school. Okay, so I don't. Who cares? Come on, man. We're talking about NFL value. It's hot.
And he performed in college.
He performed okay in college. You just talked about
performed more than okay.
Yeah, he performed. His junior season,
and he played a lot. Yeah, he played like multiple years too. Like he held down the running back, and he lost it to Allen at the end of the year. But they were both kind of right there with each other at the start of the season.
Yeah, and then they fired Franklin, and the whole team was a shit show. They lost Drew Aller, got hurt.
Okay, nobody. Yeah, will he be? Okay, that's a great question for producer Rick. Will he be in the top 10 of running backs at any time in his career? I'm not going to say the next 1-2 years. Any time in his career? Are you guys? Let's put something on the board because I've had enough
in fantasy.
Penn State homerism. Yes.
If he can
anywhere, not just in fantasy at all.
Look,
come on, all this glazing of this average running back.
The ceiling would mean that Tennessee. Everything starts to work out in Tennessee, right? Cam Ward becomes a top quarterback, and that whole offense starts clicking, and if Nicholas Singleton walks in next season as the starting running back, which is possible. It's a possible. I mean, you
Whenever
don't have
people
to
drag
be,
out their answer,
you don't have to
yes
be
or
a
no.
top. Well, because a lot relies on the team. You know what I'm saying? Like the Tennessee has been a very bad team now for a few years. So like, it's hard to put. It's like saying like, is Quinshon Judkins going to be like really good?
Quinshon Judkins is on a tier above Singleton. Come on.
but a big thing with Judkins is Cleveland going to turn it around? Is Cleveland going to give him anything to work with? Because if not, he's not going to be.
Did it. We're talking about fantasy sports.
They had a much better offensive line when Nick Chubb was there. They had one of the best offensive lines in the league.
Okay. I mean, sure.
I want to go back to Nick Singleton here. I think he could be top 10 in the next 3 years. See, here's the thing.
That's insane.
This year, he's going to be their goal line guy. Hands
Is
down. He is.
I think Tony Pollard will be their goal line guy.
No, he's not, dude. Nick Singleton is like 6'1", 230.
Hold on. You know how they say that? You know how they say that?
Pollard's like 205 pounds.
So let's put something on the board here. Let's put something on the board.
Real quick.
You also have Tajay.
Who gets more carries inside the 20 this year, Nick Singleton or Tony Pollard? Are you guys ready to put that on the board? Producer Reek, listening up. Put your money where your mouth is.
I'm not saying inside the 20, but inside the 10.
You just said he's their goal line back.
Wait, time out. Well, first off,
I'm talking about on the goal line.
What's the shelf life of a running back? What are they?
4 years.
Okay, so Tony Pollard has exceeded that, and I don't.
Because he's good.
Hold on. Every running back has that year where they start to take off. You can't predict it, but I would like to think that Tony Pollard's not like Derrick Henry-esque or like one of the other guys that's just going to be able to just keep doing this forever. He was always solid. He's not great. He's a solid guy who gets it done. And I would like to think that a young guy, Nicholas Singleton, trying to build that team. Listen, running backs don't have to get drafted in the first or second round to become.
Yeah, I agree with producer Reek in the chat here. You are dancing around this question so much. It's a yes or no. Who will have more? Okay, I'll give you inside the 5 if you want that. Who will have more inside the 5 touches?
Singleton will be inside the 5. Put it on the board.
All right, that's on the board.
And
I'm saying Tony Pollard has
he could end up at the end of the year being the number 1 running back. We're talking about Tony Pollard, who had 1,000 yards last year, 4 touchdowns. The guy had 0 receiving touchdowns. I think he had 39 targets. Have Tajay Spears there, Michael Carter. So that's going to completely probably wipe out Tony Pollard as a receiving option. And Nick Singleton is going to be a better pure runner for them. A downfield,
you know why?
Runner for them.
You know why
he's that good. You didn't watch him.
I did watch him. I watched Penn State. I'm just not a homer.
No. But you know why he dropped to the 5th round, correct? He got it. He broke his foot in the Senior Bowl. So like that was probably a big reason why he dropped. That has to be the reason. Has to be. Last year,
because everybody in the NFL isn't a Penn State homer.
Hold on. Last year, before he chose to go back to Penn State, he was a projected 2nd round pick.
You keep bringing up all these projections from like years ago. That does
years ago.
Not
that was
matter.
Last season. He shocked everybody. Him and Katron Allen shocked everybody when they both decided to return to Penn State last year. It didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
They both were projected to be
this is
high
not a Penn State podcast.
Draft picks.
Let's move on to other
it made no sense.
All right. Well, we got it on the board.
It's
Whoever
not about
has
Penn
more.
State. It's about just the guy is a great player. Again, he was I know it was high school. He was the Gatorade Athlete of the Year.
You know what I'm going to say?
He's an exceptional talent. You know what I'm saying? There's no denying that. And he's in a young, hungry offense. It could very well pan out.
Okay, who gets more fantasy points this year, Rashaad White or Nicholas Singleton?
See, dude,
I could say Nick Singleton.
I'm saying Rashaad White.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot has happened. Obviously, I'm saying that stuff's not going to happen.
Okay, I mean it's a gamble.
That's what I'm saying.
I would take the gamble if I was picking. If I was at a position to make a pick between Rashaad White and Singleton, I would take the gamble of Singleton than Rashaad White. Because Singleton
there we go. That's on the board.
That's
on the board.
And be
it's
the
on the
board running back on that team.
I cannot wait to
Rashaad White is what he is.
Rashaad White, is a productive running back who has proven himself in the NFL. That's what he is.
He is a productive running back, but is he going to outbeat who's the starter on that team now?
He might be the start. It's Bill Krosky.
You think Rashaad White's going to overplant him and become the starter?
Yeah, I don't think Bill Krosky's that good. I think he got his chance last year and he kind of failed.
I think he's that good too.
I think it's more on the board. I think it's more on the board. I think it's more on the board that Rashaad White becomes the lead back in Washington than it is that Singleton does anything in Tennessee. And I said Rashaad White because he is another person who is big at yards after contact per attempt.
And he's a big part of that. He's one of the best receiving back in the leagues. Well, that's why he's a receiving back, and he's always going to be. And they're going to split carries, and he's not going to become a number one workhorse back.
Well, he did have a season where he was the fourth best running back. He had a top 5 fantasy season among running backs. So
yeah, it was a couple years ago, and then Bucky Irving supplanted him, and now he's back.
But the point is, you're talking about Nicholas Singleton was a high school American, McDonald's, whatever, and then you're kind of downplay the fact that this guy
had a great college career.
Okay, sure, but the point is, Rashaad White was the number 4
with a great college career.
Okay, but the point is, Rashaad White actually did it in the NFL, and you're acting like Singleton is just a shoo-in because he did it 5 years ago in high school.
Let me say it to you like this. Rather, if I'm taking just straight common sense with it, you got Nick Singleton, Bill last year. I know you don't have his respect, but he actually had a pretty good year in terms of, if you look at his stats. He had 175 rushes, 800 yards, and 8 touchdowns. That is right there with Tony Pollard. Like, let's say we give Bill the same amount of rushes that Pollard had. He's probably surpassing those numbers. He already surpassed him in touchdowns. All right, so I feel a lot better knowing that Bill is going to keep his rushes more so than Tony Pollard's going to keep his rushes.
I don't think that's true at all. I think a coach like Dable, a coach like Shala, is going to default to the veteran who's proven himself. They're already depending on so many rookies.
Well, this is a good time to ask this question because, like I said, what's the shelf of a running back, right? So when you're making a pick in fantasy and you're looking at running backs that are available, does any part of you look at a running back and say, this could be his fall off year, and I'm going to avoid taking him because he's starting to get that age? You know what I mean? Everybody has to do it to some extent with Derrick Henry, and then he proves people wrong every single year. People do it with CMC, thinking, okay, this will be one of his injury years. You know what I mean? Like, I'm at that point with Tony Pollard where I go, this guy is not going to continue.
Tony Pollard has run for over 1,000 yards over the last 4 seasons.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying he's a star.
No.
He's averaged 4.6 yards per carry for his career. He is a person who is a productive NFL running back. You're acting like he's nothing.
No. That's my point is I acknowledge.
Yeah, I don't think so.
When you're making a pick, at what point do you look at a player who's especially a running back, because we know that they have shorter, lives in.
But also the thing about Tony Pollard is in his first 3 seasons in the NFL, he didn't have more than 130 carries. So he doesn't have as much tread on the tires as your typical 29-year-old
Tony Pollard, you're drafting until he doesn't have that successful year anymore?
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying this year it's not that year.
I would bet
I don't know
against
why
that.
even went there.
I'm going to bet against that.
We got that.
Because he's over the age, and, they got
that's fair. No, that's fair. It's a fair point. But okay, so I just want to give a couple other running backs that people might think about for yards after contact per attempt. Number 3 in the NFL last year, minimum 50 carries.
Where's Hampton?
Chris Rodriguez. Chris Rodriguez. Actually, I'm looking for Hampton. He's not even in the top. He had 50 carries, right? So I don't know. He wasn't in the top 10 at least. But Chris Rodriguez was on Washington, is now going to be sharing carries, could take over the running back duties in Jacksonville. Another sleeper to look out for. 3rd in the NFL last year among running backs with at least 50 carries in yards after contact per attempt. He's in a better offense now with the offensive coordinator he's a pass focused running back. The offensive coordinator / head coach Liam Cohen on the Jaguars was the same offensive coordinator for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers when Rashaad White was number 4 overall running back in fantasy football and fantasy. So that's a guy, again, He's not going to cost a lot of money. You can get him late. Let's see. Ramondre Stevenson, as annoying as he is, he's always up there in yards per attempt.
Ramondre is going to piss
Just
so
fumbles
many
the ball.
people off this year, though. Again,
Yeah,
Trayvon
he is.
Henderson is not going to be what people want him to be in fantasy because of Ramondre. I just think that it's just going to happen again, no doubt about it.
Omarion Hampton was 34th last year among running backs with 50 carries in yards
what?
after contact per attempt. Yards after contact per attempt. But we're coming near the hour. We're not going to make Reek stay here forever. PJ, do you have any last ones that you want to get in here? I mean, we can bring them up in future episodes and stuff, but I want to get any last ones in here?
Well, we didn't really touch on any quarterbacks, so I'll do something for the quarterbacks. Expected fantasy points. It estimates how many fantasy points a quarterback should score based on the value of their passing and rushing opportunities. It's not just their actual production. Unlike running backs and receivers, the quarterback XFP is driven more by play volume, field position, touchdown probability, et cetera, et cetera. But for like an example, you get a score for each situation. So for midfield passes, it's 0.42 per attempt. A QB sneak or goal line will give you 2.8 per attempt. So the idea is to compare the XFP to the actual fantasy points scored, and that'll show you whether or not they are underperforming on just basic attempts. So for me, I'm the revolving quarterback guy, incredibly helpful for me. Incredibly helpful because I could do that on a week-to-week basis, and I could work with the matchups, and I could see basically what they're doing regardless of what their matchups are. It's on a week-to-week basis. Are they moving up? Are they down? Are they moving down? Underperform? And that's what it does. It gives you a metric to show whether they're underperforming or they're overperforming.
Yeah, love that one. I love that. I also love that you can use it to stream quarterbacks because, like you said, that's a great idea to stream quarterbacks. You can put more resources in other places. I want to give one more for running backs. Missed tackles forced per attempt, which is, as it sounds, how many missed tackles does that running back force per attempt? Among running backs last year with at least 50 attempts, the top ones, number 1 was Kenneth Walker. Number 2, Tank Bigsby, who is up and down, is the top of all these lists. So he is a great handcuff, you guys. Bijan was number 3. Jahmyr Gibbs, number 4. Cam Scatterby, number 5. Ramondre, number 6. If only that guy could stop fucking fumbling.
Yeah.
Jaylen Warren, number 7. J.K. Dobbins, number 9. Jordan Mason, Minnesota running back, number 11, if he can stay healthy. Breece Hall, number 12. I think we had a little argument about Breece Hall in our earlier episode.
Jaylen Warren's an annoying one because he's high in this list, but he's like 42% of snap share.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, where do
and
I
he has
go
Rico
here?
Dowdle and he has Rico Dowdle to deal with now. So
Yeah.
he's not going to have the backfield to himself, but he might be a good late round guy that if there's an injury that happens in the running back room or something, he's a guy take that. Basil Tootin, another guy. So I talked about Chris Rodriguez with Jacksonville. Basil Tootin's Jacksonville. He's going to be their run-focused guy. So he's a guy who forces a lot of missed tackles. He had some good advanced numbers last year. Chris Rodriguez, 15th. That's crazy.
He didn't have a bad year either.
No, he didn't. He had a good
year. For the 100
year.
touches that he got, I mean, he had he had 6 touchdowns, and he was 4.5 yards per carry.
Your boy
that's what you want.
Your boy Omarion Hampton, 21st. Above Omarion Hampton, Rashaad White, 18th. So I think the guys that from this episode that you can think about that maybe you got to give a little bit of an extra oomph to when you're looking at the back half of drafts, the discount people that you're getting in your auction drafts are Chris Rodriguez, Basil Tootin, Jordan Mason,
Nick Singleton,
Tank Bigsby as a handcuff, those kind of guys. Any last vibe points from Showtime? Showtime, Nick Stevens.
No, I think we covered it.
I think you did a great job at sticking up for Penn State, and everybody loves Nicholas Singleton's high school take.
That's a
go USA, baby. Go USA.
What's the score? What's the score before we leave off? Are we up 1-0?
Still.
USA.
Listen, man, if we could win the World Cup, the men's hockey gold medal,
All the
basketball
sports that
gold
we don't even
medal.
care about.
We
That's how
just need to
great we
get
are.
the World Baseball Classic next year, baby.
Yeah, we don't even care about these sports. We're just racking it up. Thank you for joining us, everybody. Thanks for sticking around this long. Don't forget, if you need help running your fantasy league, go to fsconcierge.com to check out. We run your league, so you don't have to. You can just have fun with your teams. Check out our socials. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We're on TikTok. We're releasing clips. Check us out on YouTube. You can see this this podcast episode everywhere podcasts are, Apple Podcasts, all the good stuff. Minutes from today's meeting will not be distributed. League office is adjourned.
Go Birds!
Ridiculous tag.
Thanks for stopping by. Visit fsconcierge.com.